Hi, today we're going to talk about multi-step equations in word problems. So word problems that take more than one or two steps to solve. So first we start with our bell work. Solve the equation 3x plus 2 equals 7x minus 14. There's an x on both sides. We don't like that. You can choose either x to get rid of. I just like to get rid of the smaller one. So this 3x is a positive 3x. The opposite of a positive 3x is a negative 3x or a minus 3x on both sides of the equal sign. And now you just have 2 equals 4x minus 14. And then it's a two-step equation. Add 14 to both sides of the equal sign and divide both sides by 4. Okay, question 2. Okay, extend your thinking. Fill in the blanks so that when you solve the equation, the answer is x equals 0. So where this x is, we can just put a 0 because that's what we want it to be. And where this is, we can just put a 0 because that's what we want it to be. Okay? So now we are really, it doesn't matter what we put here. We can literally put anything right here. I'll just put that there because it's going to be multiplied by 0, so it doesn't make a difference. So now we just have plus 5 equals something times 0 plus 1 is 1. So we really have 5 equals a box times 1, which is just a box. So then the box just has to equal 5. So it seems like as long as this is 5, this can be whatever we want it to be. And then question 3, Larry bought 2 hot dogs. George bought 3 hot dogs. Together, they paid $17.50. How much did each hot dog cost? Ooh, that's such a good one. Okay, there's lots of ways you can solve it. We're actually going to learn a way later today. But what we could say is 2 hot dogs plus 3 hot dogs altogether equals $17.50. That's just combined like terms. 2h plus 3h is 5h equals $17.50. Divide both sides by 5. Okay, then we get into groups because I'm going to give you some challenge questions, a little bit like that last one on the bell work, except more difficult. A family of 4 went to Lagoon. It took them 2 hours to drive there. Once they arrived, they paid $399.80 for parking, which was $20, and tickets. So that means parking and tickets together was $399.80, and of all that chunk, $20 was parking. What was the cost of the tickets? Okay, well, first off, it tells us it took them 2 hours to drive there. Did that impact the question at all? No, we didn't do any math about how much gas they spent, how much money they spent on gas to get there. We just care about the actual tickets. So we can just do $399.80, take away that 20, and then 90, 80, 70, that gives us $379.80. There was a family of 4, so we're just going to divide it by 4, and that'll tell us what was the cost of each ticket. Susie went shopping and bought 3 pairs of shoes. The first pair was not too expensive. The second pair was twice as much as the first pair. The third pair was $5 more than the first pair. She paid with a $100 bill and got $3 back. So that means she paid $97. What was the cost of each pair of shoes? So if I choose X as the first pair, then the second pair has to be 2 times X. And the third pair has to be the first pair plus 5. Now I can just combine like terms. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 X's plus 5 equals 97, and it's a 2-step equation. Subtract 5 on both sides and then divide by 4 on both sides. Workout World charges a membership fee of $75 plus $12.50 per session for a personal trainer. Fitness Fun, Fitness Fun charges a membership fee of $100 plus $10 per session for a personal trainer. After how many sessions will the two gyms cost the same? So I already set up the equation as we were reading. Here's the first one, Workout World. You have to pay $75, period. Then, depending on how many personal trainer sessions you have, that changes the amount you have to pay. And then here's the equation for Fitness Fun. What we're curious about is when they're going to be the same after how many sessions. X stands for how many sessions we're doing. So we can just solve it like a multi-step equation. There's an X on both sides. We don't like that. I like to choose the smaller one, so subtract 10x on both sides of the equal sign. So the 75 just stays put. $12.50 minus $10 is going to just equal $2.50. X equals 100. And now it's a two-step equation. Subtract $75 on both sides of the equal sign and then divide by 250. Okay, all of that was just to practice recognizing that word problems could be either written as an equation or solved without an equation, either way. And then we open up our notebook to page 31, which looks like this, and write down the goal. I can solve multi-step equations in word problems. And then here's some practice that we have on that page. Influencer A has 400 followers on social media and is gaining 75 followers each day. I could put D for day. Influencer B has 1,000 followers on social media but is losing 25 followers a day. How many days will it take them to have the same number of followers? Okay, for losing followers, I put minus. Now there's just a letter on both sides. We don't like that, so we choose one to get rid of. A minus 25 is much smaller than a positive 75, so I'll do the opposite of minus 25, D, which is positive 25D. And now we have 400 plus 100D equals 1,000. And now it's just a two-step equation. Subtract 400 on both sides and then divide by 100. Our next practice, again, still from the notebook. Mary and her friends are going bowling. At one location, they can pay $2 to rent shoes, plus $7.50 per game. At a different location, they can pay $5 to rent shoes, plus $6 per game. How many games would they have to play in order for either location to cost the same amount? The question then, it asks, which location is a better price if they play less games, and which location is a better price if they play more games? So, there's G on both sides. We can subtract. Oh, well, actually, that's the bigger number. Well, that's okay. It doesn't matter. I would have subtracted G if I'd really thought that through, but that's okay. Subtracted 6. But subtract 7.5, we get 2 equals 5 minus 1.5G. That's why I like subtracting the smaller one better, is you don't normally get as many negatives. But that's okay. Subtract 5 on both sides, and we end up with negative 3 equals negative 1.5G. Divide both sides by 1.5 by negative 1.5. So negative 3 divided by negative 1.5. And, oh, it's only 2 games. So after 2 games, they're both going to cost the same amount. Now, if we're only going to play one game, then this first one is $2 plus $7.50. $2 plus $7.50. That's $9.50. For this other one, for one game, it's $5 plus $6, which is $11. So for only one game, location A is better. For 2 games, they're the same price. And then for 3 games, let's figure out for 3 games. 2 plus, it's going to be 7.5 times 3. For 3 games, this is $24.50. For 3 games, 5 plus 6 times 3, this is $23. So now, so even though this started off cheaper, the first one's cheaper in the beginning, if you play a ton of games, then the other one's cheaper in the end. Depends on how many games you're going to play. Hercules has $155 in savings, and Meg has $230 in savings. So Hercules has $150, and he is saving $10 each week. Uh-oh, Meg. She has $230, but she is spending $15 each week. After how many weeks will I have the same amount of money, and how much money will that be? So we have a W on both sides. Let's get rid of one of them. Minus 15 is much smaller than positive 10. So I'll get rid of minus 15. The opposite of minus 15 is plus 15 on both sides of the equal sign. Now I have 155 plus 25W equals 230. Now I'm actually, instead of just saying, oh, and then finish solving it, I'm going to go ahead and solve it. So 230 minus 155, we now get 25W equals 75. Divide both sides by 25, and we know that after 3 weeks, they'll have the same amount of money. Then it asks, how much money will that be? So I can plug the 3 back in. It doesn't matter either to that W or this W. 155 plus 10 times 3, or 230 minus 15 times 3. They should be the same. 155 plus 10 times 3 is 185. And 230 minus 15 times 3 is also 185. So they'll both have $185 after 3 weeks. Okay, then you turn the page, and there were 3 more word problems on the back to do with your teen. If you want to see the answers to those, go onto Canvas, and you can see the notebook answers on Canvas. And then we end with our exit ticket. The phone company calls charges $30 a month plus $1 per gigabyte of data used. The phone company talks charges $20 per month plus $5 per gigabyte. After how many gigabytes of data would the company's cost the same, and what is that cost? That's just like our Hercules one that we just did. So we can subtract 1G on both sides, then subtract 20, and then divide by 4, I think is what that's gonna be, and solve for how many gigabytes, and then you can plug in that number to G. Extend your thinking, write a word problem that could be represented by this equation. I like to think about money often, so it certainly could be someone has $20 and is saving $2 a week. Someone is in debt $5, but they're saving $3 a week. That's an example, but certainly not the only one. There you go. That was word problems and multi-step equations. You got this. Have a great day.